Hey, somebody needs to collect the eggs. You have? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to The Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me part of your week. My purpose here today with every show we do is to play the part of the best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life of your wildest dreams by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. The Professional Noticer is sponsored this week by WisdomHarbor.com. Today, schools all over America are finding WisdomHarbor.com's one-of-a-kind streaming service to be the perfect low-cost, high-quality educational tool for their students. Wisdom Harbor's stated responsibility is to create the next greatest generation, starting with your hometown and your school system. For less than $3 a month per teacher, classrooms have access to original content only found on WisdomHarbor.com that teaches, entertains, and builds character in young people while creating conversations between young people and the adults in their community. Utilizing video, audio, and the written word, content is delivered in small bites by Grammy winners, CEOs, comedians, chefs, best-selling authors, and Hall of Fame speakers. There are even guitar lessons from an award-winning songwriter. Check it out today and join your friends and neighbors who are already a part of WisdomHarbor.com. And isn't it time your schools got involved? WisdomHarbor.com, creating America's next greatest generation, starting with your hometown. Observations and answers, that's what we do here on the Professional Noticer. And as you know, we love it when somebody comes to the table with both. Today, I'll just tell you, we have one of my favorite people in the world. This is like one of my smartest friends, definitely one of my funniest friends. He is like kind of a hero of mine, but he's like a brother. This is the best comedian working today. Please welcome Jeff Allen.
Well, I can't. Yeah, I have a hard time following that. You know. Thanks. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I can see people listening and just crossing their arms. We'll be the judge of that.
I know. Isn't that awful?
Yeah, I used to hate it when they build you up, especially corporate shows where people don't know who you are. They have no clue. This guy we saw, you get up and they go, I don't know, he's not so special. You know?
Or when they do your entire routine in the introduction. Our special guest tonight is known for such jokes as, and he'll tell you jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw him on the Tonight Show the other night where he said, and he'll do another one of your jokes.
Exactly.
Like, oh,
thanks. Thank you. Now I've got to rewrite the whole 14-minute opening. You know.
Now, Jeffrey, we are gonna get to this. This is why I'm wanting you here today. You have a brand new book, and we're going to talk about it in a second. Yeah. And you guys, I'm just telling you, this book is special. This book is special. It's Are We There Yet? My Journey from a Messed Up to a Meaningful Life. This is Jeff Allen, and this, I hesitate to say this, but this, I think, is the best thing that Jeff Allen has produced in a career where he has produced, tons of stuff. You're talking about millions and millions of views. This guy on every satellite radio thing. So Jeff, how did you get so angry?
I came by it naturally. Tami, my wife,
I've known you for a long time, but I gotta say that when I read the first 6 or 8 chapters of this book, it was kind of scary.
I remember you text me, please tell me that you come up for air. I'm about 80 pages in, and yeah, we wanted, to me, I don't know. I wanted to, it's not enough to say I was an angry husband, because most guys go, well, yeah, I get angry. So I would give examples of what that looked like. And then that's where like, oh my gosh, especially people that know me today, they just go, holy cow,
Yeah, because you expect people when they're doing a memoir, you expect them to tell things that are true. But it's rare that we get somebody that really goes to the foundation and tells the truth because nobody wants anybody to think bad things about them. And so nobody wants to present themselves at their worst. But I got to say, I mean, I, this, and I wrote the foreword. Okay, I'll
Yes,
just
yeah. I was gonna.
lay
Well, you
that
didn't
out.
give me a chance. I was gonna say that.
Well, you asked me to write the
Yeah.
foreword, and I felt like that I could have written it before I read the book. I did not, but I was thinking I can write this without even reading the book because I'm writing with Jeff. But then when I read the book, it changed what I was going to write. And here's one part that I want to let people know about the book. This is from my forward. I said, as you read Are We There Yet? You will laugh, but consider yourself warned. You will also cringe during the book's first half. For the record, Are We There Yet? Introduces us to four main characters. In the first 8 chapters, we meet Jeff and Tami. Jeff is an arrogant, self-centered, drug-using alcoholic who constantly ricochets between explosive anger and abject despair. Tami is Jeff's wife and a mother to their young children. No wilting flower, Tami gives as good as she gets. She's tough and caustic, despite being bewildered by Jeff's behavior, much of which has hurt her deeply. It is not until the second half of the book that we are introduced to Jeff and Tami, a completely different couple who are similar to the first two in looks only. Jeff is a humble man who cares deeply for his wife and children. He doesn't drink, and except for golf, he isn't addicted to anything. Jeff is thoughtful, grateful, and optimistic. Tami is Jeff's one true love, best friend, and partner in life. She is secure as a wife and mother, a friend to many, an example to many more. Tami's kind-hearted, beautiful, and maybe funnier than her husband.
That's true.
Yeah,
She has a
that's what I think.
wicked sense of humor. You nailed it, Andy. I think, and when I read it, we got a little verklempt, Tami and I reading it, When Tami read the final draft, I gave it to her. She read the first 2 chapters, put it down, and came to me. I can't read anymore. We were horrible people. And I said, well, you have to, that's the beauty of the story, the arc of the story. If you hang with it, we're not those people anymore. Paul talks about it in the New Testament, that when you are in Christ, you are a new creation. The old is washed away and the new is here, So those people, that's what we call ourselves, those people. We meet people, we met you 25 years. Wow, we're sorry. we were not the kind of couple you had over for a friendly game night. It always got pretty ugly.
I think that this book, this has so many. I mean, I tell people when people are writing a book or when they're, thinking about a book, I say, well, think about what it'll do for somebody.
Right.
It's not that you're writing your story to pat yourself on the back. You're writing your story to relate and help other people.
Right.
And so when I think of this book in those terms, I think, I mean, you think your marriage is bad? Read this book. You think you're married? You think there is no hope for your marriage? Read this book. And then,
when you hear people, what broke you up? Well, I just didn't feel like I loved him anymore.
right.
Well, what was he doing? He sitting on the couch a lot. Yeah, I do stuff now in the show where I tell men, I go, hey guys, I said, you have to really work and remember what you felt the first time you laid eyes on her. I mean, it's 37 years ago. So you're not going to look at her unless you make a point to look at her. And I call it like God's flint. It's like God's got flint and he's just trying to spark your heart. Look at her. And there's just change and change. Look at her. Look at her. And then finally you just go, oh, wow, I forgot. And then you think, and then you go, well, that's a lot of work. Boink. But you just, I mean, it's not, familiarity breeds contempt. I get more women will come to me after hearing me talk about, I say, if your marriage is full of acrimony, wait till you get to apathy. That was probably the worst point of our marriage, is when we just didn't care anymore. And I get more women coming to me saying, we're there. We're there. And how do you get out of it? I said, well, you have to pay attention. First of all, that's be a willingness to acknowledge, and then kind of remember, at some point you loved each other, at some point you were moved by each other. So it takes work. It's not, I told Tami, you walk out on me. I said, that's it. I'm not doing this again. There's just no way, man. I'm just going to go to the
with
golf
anybody.
course with anybody. I'm looking for a lesbian golfer, and just somebody I can hang with that's a female, That I don't have to be, worried about intimacy or anything. Any of that stuff, vulnerability, transparency, all that stuff is just, a lot of work for me. It's a lot of work. Tami, we were talking a couple of nights ago, and I don't know how the subject came up. I think it was Ricky Gervais's joke. I don't know if you saw it. It's hysterical. He said Hugh Hefner married a 24-year-old woman, and they asked the woman, 24 years old, 84, why? She said, well, he lied about his age, and she said, really? She said, yeah, he told me he was 94. So Tami and I were talking about that. She goes, if you leave me for a younger woman and you go you go more than one generation back, you're a creep. So I said, so you're telling me I can't leave you for anybody under 45? I go, then what's the point? What's the point?
There was that I read an interview one time with Walter Cronkite's wife.
Wow.
And she said that Walter had said one day that he wanted to die on a 90-foot yacht with a 25-year-old woman. And I told him, you'll probably die on a 25-year-old boat with a 90-year-old woman. Walter Cronkite's wife.
Yeah.
She.
I like
so,
that.
So I think another thing that this is very valuable for is if you have somebody in your life who is just anti-Christ, anti-Christian, anti-Jesus.
Yeah.
Because, boy, Jeff, I'm amazed. I met you. I met the second Jeff and Tami.
Right. We were on a Gaither cruise, I think, when we met.
Yeah. And when I read this, you and I have had conversations. So I know some of it, but boy, you were a tough customer.
I was broken and wounded, and it's like, when you hunt. So when you wound an animal, they're probably more dangerous than before you wounded them.
Sure.
So you take a child and you wound them, and again, all the psychology I did and stuff. I got to go deep into that, but anger is usually the cover emotion for sadness. So the more angry people are, they're probably deeply saddened and wounded more than average. You just, as a child, you keep feeling sadness, and eventually you just pound your fist and go, I'm not going to feel this anymore. So every time sadness enters in, you just get angry. So if your marriage is falling apart and you're saddened about all of the circumstances in your life, you're just constantly, in this flux of various degrees of anger. And for me, when I would lash out at her, I would be ashamed of that. I'd feel shame for that, and then shame kicks in. It's called the shame cycle, and then and it's just this perpetuating cycle within inside you until you get help. And I quit drinking a year, and I wanted to write it from my sober years. I didn't really want to spend a lot of time talking about what I did as a drunk. To me, I've read books written by sex addicts, and they say, I'm not going to go into detail about what I did. because if that's what you want to read, you're a voyeur, and, and it's not going to help you. I mean, so I really have no desire to sit there and tell you about all the stuff I did when I was drunk, because admitting you're an alcoholic should say all you need to say. I don't know anybody who drinks excessively that goes into Alcoholics Anonymous just because he heard it was a good place to hang out. So yeah,
they drug you. You kind of went kicking and screaming into AA, didn't you?
Well, I went after I spanked Ryan. He was 6 months old. I was ready at that point. I had some incidences I write about in the book. That I got arrested one night. I got arrested out in front of a comedy club in Boston. They put cuffs on me for doing cocaine, and they put me in the cruiser. And at the right moment, an off-duty cop comes out of the club to smoke a cigarette, and he sees me, a comedian, in the cruiser, and he says, "What's he doing in there?" He says, "Well, he's doing cocaine. He's going in." And the cop goes, "Let him go. He's one of the comedians," as if that's a get out of jail free card, and it turned out it was. They took me out, they uncuffed me, and the policeman said to me, he goes, "You have no idea how lucky you are. The DA's up for re-election, and they just love parading white suburban boys in front of the camera right before election to show them how tough they are on crime." And you were looking at 3 to 5. So that was one of them. And then like a couple of weeks later, I got drunk and drove the wrong way on the interstate, and luckily nobody was harmed. And then I spanked Ryan, 6 months old, and Tami took him away from me. Said, "Who does this?" And that humiliated me more than anything in my life. When I sat and thought about what the possible outcome of that could have been, frightened me to death. And so I went into AA humbled enough to do whatever they told me to do. And that's probably what saved my life. I mean, they told me to pray. I said, "To what?" I didn't believe in God. So they go, "Well, find something, you're the reason you're here. So don't pray to yourself." So yeah. So anyway, I didn't understand that. I felt if I'm making up a deity, that makes me delusional. So that was kind of, you hear these bumper stickers, I'm spiritual and everything's, well, how does that work when cancer hits, or death of a child, or loss of a job, and you're on your knees in the midst of probably one of the biggest storms of your life, and you're praying to just find some kind of comfort and relief in the midst of that. And, you're praying to something you made up. I go, I don't know how that works. So that was really kind of the search for me. I believe God's hand was in it, just kind of pushing me along. And I tried self-help. I tried New Age Buddhism. When I met the man that put the Bible in my hands, I think I was reading Ayn Rand. And I believe this. If I wasn't a Bible-believing Christian, I would be an Ayn Rand objectivist. I loved her work. And it's interesting. I read it in the 90s before becoming a believer. And then I read it again in 2010. I told Tami when I finished it, I go, wow. It's just so dark. There's no colors. There's no children. There's no joy. It's just hardcore reason and logic. And that's not where Christ lives. Christ doesn't live in the black and white. He lives in the color. The best explanation I heard is if someone asked you what you love about Polly, you would give them tangibles. Whatever those are. I can tell you what I love about Tami. She's beautiful. She's witty. She's got a heart of gold. Her love language is service, hospitality. She just loves serving other people. And so a logical person would say, well, I could find a prettier woman, smarter, funnier, and probably do more service, And would you dump her? No, because there's these things I can't explain. When she walks in a room sometimes, and I just, remember how beautiful she is, not all the time. I'm not a freak, but, but I'm just saying, it's interesting to me because the arguments against God are just those things, their reason and logic. And faith is something that lives in the gaps of that, and there's an existential thing. And I knew that the day I got on my knees and said, "I'm yours," something changed in me, and I wrote about it in the book. I believe the night that I was tossing that 50-pound heavy bag around, I put this bag up on my porch to hit when I got angry and enraged. And I knocked it off its hinges and was tossing it around the yard, screaming at the heavens, why? I mean, it's like 10 o'clock at night. The kids are up. They're looking at me. I mean, it's just another fit by me, And then when I walked in the house, something washed over me. Something calmed me. And I picked Ryan up and he said, "You scare me." And I go, "I scare myself." And I looked at Tammy says, "Get out. You live in hotels anyway. Just get out. I don't want you in the house." And I said, "I'm okay." She goes, "I don't care. Get out." I go, "No, I mean, I'm okay. This will never happen again." And she said, "BS." And I said, "Have I ever said that to you?" She goes, "What does that matter?" And I said, "My father said it to my mother over and over again. My brother said it to his wife over and over again. I never said it to you because I knew it would happen again. I try not to make promises I can't keep. But I'm telling you, something just changed in me." And I believe that was the night the Holy Spirit came in and just said, "Okay." And he was there that night, I ended the first chapter on Tammy's relationship with that other guy,
Yeah. This is, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but it's a, you couldn't have written a bigger mess.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny if you didn't know it was true and you read it, you go, "Okay, this is some really good fiction."
Yeah. Or man, this writer's just kind of overdoing this a little bit.
Yeah, it's got everything. Alcohol, drugs. It's got infidelity. It's got drugs, bankruptcies. It's got near divorce. It's got
meanness.
Yeah.
And we used to. It was funny because we used to watch you, and you, man, we thought, golly, we loved you because you were so sarcastic and you did that anger act so well. We thought, this dude can act angry, man. Can he?
Yeah.
Can he? Who knew? You really were pissed off.
Yeah, when I went into acting class when I was 60, because I wanted something to do. We live in the country. We live out in the middle of nowhere. You've been to our house. So yeah. So anyway, I said to Tammy, "I'm 60. I said, I don't feel like I'm in the business anymore. This is where artists go to die. So I'm going to Nashville." And she goes, "What are you going to do?" I go, "I don't know. I'm going to take an acting class, hang around some young people who aren't as bitter as I am, and anyway, it worked. I went down there and the guy goes, "Well, tell me about yourself." I said, "Well, I've never really done acting. And this is a scene study, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, if you want to train me, you don't have to give me any scenes with anger. I got that one down." Yeah. Tammy used to say my anger was God's gift to the world, so, but it was very funny when he gave me a scene, Whiplash. Remember that movie with the drummer?
Oh,
and he throws the drumsticks at the guy. Anyway, he gives me that scene. And I'm playing J.K. Simmons's role where I scream and holler at this guy. And I finish and he goes, "You weren't kidding, were you?" He goes, "That was good." I go, "Yeah, it comes naturally to me." And it was interesting watching other people try to get angry. They have stuffed it for so long in their life that they would cry in a scene that was supposed to be lashing out. It's interesting, watching the emotional computer from wrecked people and what you've been able to suppress and bury and not be able to do or not allow yourself to do. But anger was one of my gifts. So.
Well, buddy,
I was a little cranky. I go into these corporate shows and they go, I noticed you got like Cliff Bars on your rider. Why? And I go, "Well, if I get late and I haven't eaten, I need something I can stuff down my throat 5 minutes before I hit the stage. Otherwise, I get a little crabby.
And then after they watch your show, they say, "So this wasn't crabby?"
No, this was good. I was good. Yeah, I was a good guy tonight.
Oh man, I appreciate so much your time, Jeffrey. And I got to tell you, people love you on wisdomharbor.com too. Appreciate, we got the entire comedy concert of you on there, and I know you're coming into the studio soon to record some stuff. So
some stuff that you're going to give me to record, and I would love that. By the way, my daughter-in-law, while I'm on the topic, I meant to call you about this. We'll just say it publicly. She does these food history videos I think you would love. It's on the history of food, and I want to send you a link from the last one she sent me. She did one on cheese that I did not know went back to the Middle East and camels and
man, please send me that.
First person I thought of was I called my son. I go, you need to go to Wisdom Harbor, and I said this is like right up Andy's, and this is his forte, man. He just picks these nuances out of history that you go, wow, I didn't know that. That's so cool. Cool.
Please send me that.
Yeah, I will.
Please send me that. And I want to tell everybody, I can just promise you there are at least 5 people in your life that need this book. So order multiple copies when you order, because as soon as you read it, you're going to go, so-and-so needs this, so-and-so needs this, so-and-so needs this. Right. So just have them where you can do it.
We just had a guy order a case of them, 32 books.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought, wow, that's something. He said, yeah, I got half the people I golf with. I'm just going to give it to them for gifts. It's interesting, because it's a September release. And we thought, well, it'd be a great Christmas gift for people, and so shop early.
Yeah. This is a great Christmas gift. Matter of fact, I need to order some books because I've got a bunch of guys that I want to get this to. So I'll get with you when we get off the air.
Okay, great.
So thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it so much, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. And we will see you and Polly. Tammy's so looking forward to it. Explain to the people, we were scheduled to hook up in August, and the COVID, the scourge.
Of all things, Jeff calls and says, hey, I got COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't. So he can't come here.
No, exactly.
But we're doing it again soon. So thank you, and we'll put on the show notes how to follow you and how to get you and everything. Cool. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, man. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing that tiny bit of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Comedic timing for the cast and crew provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by ChurchCampPranks.com. Moms, dads, do you remember the good old days making out at church camp? And the cruel pranks you played on the dumber kids? Well, most of that kind of fun seems to be missing from today's version of church camp. Here at churchcamppranks.com, we can't guarantee anyone for your teenager to kiss, but we can surely equip them with prank knowledge that is far beyond the ordinary. And some of our pranks definitely lean Old Testament. With an online subscription to churchcamppranks.com, you'll have exclusive access to detailed plans on exactly how to hide an ant bed under a mattress, what type of deer urine to use and where to hide it in an air vent, determining the decay rate of a fish at room temperature hidden in a counselor's luggage, and how to keep a goat alive in a closet. That's churchcamppranks.com with a complete guide to all the dirty tricks Jesus pulled as a boy.